Hello! So, I was kind of joking about making a Love Lies Bleeding Part 2 video, but then I started really sitting down and thinking about all the things I didn't get to put into my other Part 1 review and analysis, and I realized that there's just like a lot of things that I would like to continue to speak about that are important for the movie. If not for you, then for myself, because honestly, I like to make YouTube videos to a certain extent as like kind of records of like how I used to think about things, or like, I don't know, like subjects that I really care about, and then I can look back later as a reference and be like, oh, that's how I thought about that. Like, I wonder why that is. So, I don't know. All that to say, I did want to start out by making little short corrections to my first video. So number one, the movie takes place in New Mexico. I said Arizona. Whoops. Sorry about that. I also said that Lou was just like a member of the gym. Just kidding. She's the manager of the gym. I did mention it later in the 40-minute soup, but at the same time, I was just like, let me just correct that for record. I think that's about it concerning first video goofs. But for the second part, I did want to focus on Lou and Jackie's relationship. I feel like something that I'm really interested in is the best way I can put it is the way that the characters fight. Because it's great to see characters in love, but I feel like even in real life, I feel like something that can define a relationship and really make or break it is the way that you fight, and like the way that you're able to work through conflict and talk about things. So, all that being said, foundationally, I think that the title of the movie does play a part in defining their relationship. So essentially, Love Lies Bleeding is a flower. It's this gorgeous type of flower. It's almost like hot magenta colored, and it looks like drips of blood when it grows out. And in the language of the flowers, which was very prevalent during like Victorian times, because you would essentially send your lover a bouquet of flowers, and all the different flowers would have different meanings. For example, daisies are like innocence, like red roses are like true love, like stuff like that. But every single flower does have a different kind of secret meaning to it, which I really like. So concerning Love Lies Bleeding, it's a flower that means hopeless love. So essentially like a doomed love. If you are sending your lover that flower, it probably is in secret, and you're saying like, hey, like, I love you, but I don't think this is going to work out. So with Lou and Jackie, they are both at once hopelessly in love and engaged in a seemingly hopeless love. So hopelessly in love in the way that like they're both very like, I feel like their chemistry is very good, and it's very clear that they love each other. The love is seemingly hopeless because I don't think either of them have experienced a love that is actually healthy, to the extent that they can replicate, the healthy relationship dynamic between like, themselves. It seems like a lot of the love in their life has been, both of them, has been very conditional and very, almost steeped in violence to a certain extent. And once again, something I said in the first part is with Jackie, I feel like there's so many things she says that I feel like just makes so much sense to me. But I guess if you've never been in a situation where maybe your home life was a little violent, or like, you've been adopted or you're in the foster care system, like it's things that if you don't have the information necessarily about that experience, like you're gonna look at it and be like, oh, just face value, like that sucks that you had to go to church twice a week, that sounds boring. And it's like, no, like when you're like, you're adopted into a religious family and you are not straight or maybe not cis, like you are essentially just forced to be a person who you really aren't, or you're forced to make yourself smaller, you're forced to be a different person just so you can fit into this family dynamic that you're maybe, whether you want to be in it or not, like you depend on those people for food, shelter, especially when you're a kid, like it's tough. So where was I going with this? Essentially, I am concerned for the future of that relationship. Obviously, these are literally fictional characters. It doesn't really, like, it doesn't matter. But I feel like so much of things in my life have been reflected so accurately in that film. And it's just like, I feel like that's why I feel like it's put me into such a hole, like a mental hole of me just sitting there like watching the events unfold and watching Kristen Stewart drink chocolate protein shake off of this woman's boobs. I'm just like sitting there being like, am I experiencing ego death? Like, what is happening? So I don't know. So like that's I don't know. That's what, I feel like I could end the video there and be like, and that's it. But like, there are more things. But I feel like that's the gist of it. I just feel like, as the title says, in a very blatant way, like, the film really is, as much as it's like a, like, crime noir, like, thriller, essentially, I feel like in respects to the romance aspect of it, as much as these people are being murdered and all this, like, crazy crime stuff is happening around them, like, I really do feel like the heart of the film is this romance that's building around all of these, like, impossible obstacles that are getting between these people. So, all that to say, I did want to get into, I, like, sat this morning and thought about this. I'm like, I don't know why, like, I'm thinking about this hard, but I think what I was saying in the first video concerning, like, all of the transactional sex that happens, and, like, the transactional sex versus, like, I don't know, like, sex work, is the fact that, and this gets sticky, I know, but concerning, like, you know, sex work, I feel like usually it's kind of, there are defined boundaries in the way that there is no confusion around, this is what we're doing, this is why, this is what's happening. Maybe you're a client and you like, you know, a more, like, emotional situation to happen when you're having sex. Like, that's one thing. It's a completely different thing when the boundaries are not at all defined, and you're essentially kind of, not only are you doing something physical and, you know, mental, you're also kind of, not that sex work can't be emotionally taxing, like 200%, but I think it gets confusing when you're approaching people and the person you're approaching thinks that, like, oh, you're just, like, this, like, beautiful woman and you're flirting with me and you're doing all this stuff, and then suddenly it turns into, by the way, like, because I had sex with you, like, because I did you that favor, like, can I stay in your house for a little while? Like, could you buy me dinner? Like, could you, you know, could you hook me up with a job? Like, it's just something that I really, like, need, and, like, since we're, you know, we're already so close because of this, like, let's, like, it's okay, right? And it's like, it's just so, like, complicated to navigate, because that whole, like, weird up in the air feeling of not just, oh, like, we're doing this transactional thing and it's very blatant and I know that I'm paying you for this and, like, this is what's going to result and, like, this is what's happening, versus the situation that you get into where you're Lou and Jackie, and you're Lou and you find out that your girlfriend, who you love very much, fucked your disgusting brother-in-law for a job, and you're just like, wait, is this person also doing this to me? And is the only reason that, like, we're having sex and we're in a relationship or whatever else is because you want me to feed you and house you and help you train and, like, get free steroids, essentially. Which, like, I'm laughing because I'm so stressed. Like, literally in the movie theater, when, like, the scene starts out, like, the first fight scene, it's not like a physical fight, it's like a fight where they're just, like, they're just arguing, and it stresses me out so much. And it starts with a shot of Kristen Stewart with, like, a beer tab in her mouth, and she's just, like, fucking around with it, essentially, because I think she has oral fixation because she smokes so intensely. Like, she's, like, normally she just, like, you know, chain smokes 24/7, and then she meets Jackie, and I'm pretty sure because Jackie's in her house and she's like, I don't want to be smelly and gross and whatever, I'm gonna maybe quit because I was trying to quit in the first place. She's doing the thing. She's just doing her little beer tab in her mouth thing, and I got really confused because I literally thought she was chewing tinfoil for 5 seconds, and I was like, what are you doing? And then it pans over to Jackie just being like, so are you gonna be like this all night? Well, you want to talk about this? Like, it turns into just, like, in my opinion, one of the most realistic fights, very specifically, like, lesbian couple fights I have ever seen, like, on camera. Because it goes from that being like, okay, so you're just gonna be like this, to, like, oh, so, like, you're just gonna be like this and you're just gonna, like, fuck my brother-in-law, I guess. Like, it's just like, oh, like it's painful to watch. I personally felt it was painful to watch, especially the part where like Jackie's like, okay, well, like I'm gonna leave, like I'm gonna get out of the car, and then like Lou's like, oh, you're gonna leave, like where are you gonna go? Like where are you gonna go? Whose house are you gonna go to? Maybe mine because you live there, because I'm letting you live there. Like it's just it's like please like stop, like this is a lot. And like I think the thing that got me is the fact that like it was never even resolved, and it's literally just because like this like federal agent pulls up in his little car on the other side of the street, and Lou is like, you know what, just get in the car, we cannot do this in front of the feds, and also I just don't want to do this in general. And then like I'm pretty sure, if I am remembering correctly, it goes from that fight to kind of like a cut scene to like Jackie getting ready for bed, and then they have sex. And I'm like, did you talk about this at all? Because I feel like that's a really relevant thing to talk about. And also, like, not for nothing, I feel like it was brought up maybe 2 or 3 times in the movie. The fact that, like, Lou's like, hey, so you're not just, like, some straight girl, like, just, like, fucking around, right? Like, you actually are interested in me. Like, you actually like me, right? And the thing is, Jackie doesn't say anything. Like, she's just like, oh, and like not for nothing, but during this fight where like Jackie's literally walking in the street being like, I'm tired of this, and then Lou is like in her fucking car, like with the window rolled down, being messy, being like, hey, where you going? Where you going? Maybe back to my house? Or our house now, apparently? Like, what's up? And it's just like, oh my God. But yeah, no, it does come up where like Lou's like, so are you straight and you're just using me? And Jackie's like, what do you, like, I like men and women, like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, okay. I don't care about that. Good for you. Bisexual rights, but also, are you using me? Do you actually love me? Like, it's so, like, I shouldn't laugh. That's actually, there's several serious things going on that are not good. But I was just like, oh my God, like, what is happening? So that never gets resolved. And I feel like that's actually maybe something that probably should have been talked about maybe the day after they slept together, or even the night of when they were about to sleep together. Like, that's a whole, I feel like that conversation, everything involved in that conversation I just described, probably should have happened. Also, like, I know that, here's the other thing I realized this morning sitting on the toilet being like, wait, it's definitely like, I feel like 99% confident that Jackie probably did not know that like that gross dude who she fucked in the parking lot probably, you know, was not somehow related to Lou. Because I think that happened right before she met Lou. And then, I don't know, she went to the dinner, and I have a feeling the dinner is probably the first time that, like, she saw JJ again. Or maybe not, because he was always around the shooting range, but maybe she just didn't make the connection, or maybe she did make the connection, but she didn't want to bring it up, or like have it be like a whole big deal, because also she was like living with Lou in their house there. Not me projecting, in her house. So like, I don't necessarily know if that was like an intentional thing. And also with the dinner, I feel like, I don't know, like I felt bad for Beth, because like Beth was the only one out of all of them who did not really know that like Jackie and JJ had been like together. And I use together very loosely, because another thing I noticed with the movie, which was very cursed, was like the very first scene that Jackie is in, technically, is JJ being like a nasty little man and like having sex with her, and like she's just sitting there, she's not doing anything, she's just like, all right, like I don't think you even see her face. I feel like it's that level of like her just kind of checking out and not giving a shit and being like, okay, like this is happening. And then immediately after, he's like, yay, I finished, this is like, I'm so cool, like, and like hot for being able to like land this woman, even though I'm a married man and I'm also a disgusting piece of shit. Like, so that happened. She immediately is like, okay, so like, how about that job? Like, can I have a job? Like, are you actually gonna like hook me up with that, or did you just lie to me because you wanted to have sex? Like, what's going on? And then 5 seconds later, he's like, no, of course, like, I'll get you the job at the shooting range. Like, you just have to be cool and not embarrass me, like, whatever. And it's like, okay, great, like, that happened, but I don't know. It's just so, I feel like the big defining things and, like, the difference between I don't know, Jackie sleeping with JJ and JJ just being a pig, obviously, and just being like not cool, versus like, I don't know, like Jackie's relationship with Lou is the fact that like it seems like Jackie actually seems to like Lou as a person, and they're talking like even before they sleep together, like they're just talking about their lives, or like more specifically Jackie's talking about her life, and then Lou isn't talking about her life at all, because like she's like, there's like, my life is shit, and also like my family gets up to illegal activities, so like, you know, there's not much I can say. Even though I think it's interesting that like, I feel like obviously Jackie and Lou live together, but Jackie's learning all this stuff about Lou from like an outside perspective looking in, because she works with her family and like so many of her family members. Like her dad is literally, like Lou's dad is literally her boss, and it's just like a weird dynamic almost, where you're like seeing your boss and you're like, he's a weird guy, like he literally fucking shot at her at some point like a psycho, but at the same time like maybe he's not that bad. And it's, you know, the example of that is the fact that like she was in jail, like Jackie was in jail, and she called Lou first, and then Daisy, the cursed woman, picks up and is like, she doesn't want you anymore, like, ugh. And then hangs up, and then she immediately calls the dad, and for a second I was like, why does she call the dad? It's like, it's probably because the only numbers she probably has memorized are Lou's number, and then like Lou's house phone, and then her workplace, you know, number, like, because she works at the like cafe on the shooting range. So I don't know. Anyway, the other fight that I wanted to address, which actually pissed me off on the initial watch, but then I really thought about it and I was like, I guess it makes complete sense, is at the very end where like Lou is literally coming in to like fucking like rescue Jackie from her dad, and it's just like, okay, like we need to get out of here, and then Jackie decides to fuck around and try to like shoot at Lou and do all this stuff and be like, you couldn't have waited 5 seconds, like you had another woman in your house after me, and it's just like, why do you even care? Like apparently you're just using her. But the thing is, like, I don't know, I thought it was really interesting that in the middle of Lou cleaning up multiple murders that were committed by Jackie's sitting there and being like, oh, like, you don't even love me, like, you gave up on me, like, you found another woman. And it's like, she just cleaned up after 2 murders for you, okay? She literally broke into her dad's house and, like, hurt her sister physically for you. And you're acting like a jealous high schooler, being like, oh, there's another girl, isn't there? And it's like, why do you care? And then I realized, oh, it's because, like, how do I put it? So Jackie has like her one big dream, and her one big dream is to win the bodybuilding competition and then move to California and swim in the ocean. And it's her whole life. Like even before she met Lou, and Lou was like, here's some steroids. She was like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's the most important thing to me. Like that's it. And then she finally gets to the bodybuilding competition that she's been like, you know, working herself up over, like training for so many years, presumably. And I don't know, the only thing that gets her through the competition is visualizing Lou being like, oh, like, you can do this. Like, go fucking get him. Like, go, like, kill it. Like, I don't know. And then she has her, like, little, like, vomit moment, and it seems like a physical manifestation of guilt. And, like, I don't know. I thought it was interesting that, like, Lou gets, like, vomited up or whatever. And it's like, hey, like, told you to lay low and you just didn't. You didn't bother, and now you're here, and now, like, we're probably going to be in trouble. It seems like Lou is covered in egg whites, which is, like, a big, stupid theme throughout the movie where, like, I don't know, like, Lou and Jackie sleep together, and then, sorry, it makes me scream. I think it's really funny, but I'm also like, shut up. Lou makes this big, beautiful breakfast with, like, fresh coffee and orange juice and, like, all this stuff. And I noticed, like, made an omelet for Jackie, but then I don't think she made an omelet for herself. She literally was just like, here, like, this is for you. And then Jackie's like, oh, this is, like, really, like, good. Like, but maybe next time, like, leave out the yolks. Like, and it's just like, is this room service, ma'am? Like, and, like, Lou is literally like, excuse me, but then also, like, the next montage scene is her, like, taking the yolks out of the eggs, and I'm just like, please. And then the other thing related to that is, in the beginning, you see Lou open her fridge, and it's beer. It's mostly like just like beer and like a few like pre-prepared dinners and whatever else. And then this, I forget why. I'm trying to remember the second time, or like whatever the reason was. I think she was opening her fridge because Daisy wanted a beer or something. She opens the fridge and her entire fridge is eggs. Like her entire fridge is just eggs so she can feed her girlfriend omelets so that her girlfriend can get more buff. Like, that's crazy. Like, I love that for you, but also like literally like this has to do with the last like fight scene in the movie. But I remember being in the theater very distinctly and being like, stand up, get up, okay, get up. Like, you are drowning in 2 inches of lesbian water and you need to stand the fuck up. Like, it's like, just like, stop it. Like, sometimes we are gay and it is fine, but sometimes we gotta dial it back. Like, for our own self-preservation and sanity, we have to like go from like over here to like maybe over here. Like, we cannot continue to be this pathetic for like this woman who keeps running around and making you clean up her crime scenes. Like, we gotta chill. So I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm like thinking about this movie so hard and just like applying all these things like, oh, love languages and like types of styles of attachment, like, which are very interesting things with the relationships. But for some reason, I'm just so like dead set on like trying to dissect everything. And I really do think it's just because I feel like if I could figure out the secrets to this movie, then I can figure out the secrets to my own like failed relationships. It's like, I need to calm down probably, but I can't. So I don't know. Like, the final fight is once again the insecurity on Jackie's part for some reason. And then also the whole thing of like, I don't know, Jackie being like, I think I'm a really bad person. And Lou immediately is just like, no, you're not a bad person. Like, my dad made you kill people, so like, it's fine. It's like, I feel like by trying to absolve Jackie so hard, you're trying to absolve yourself of the guilt you feel. Because your dad also made you kill people. And it's like, oh, like, you actually killed JJ. Like, it's fine. He was an abuser. And also, like, I wanted to kill JJ. And I'm like, that's fair. And also, maybe we loved that JJ got killed. Yeah, like, I love that. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like you're trying really hard to justify certain things. Like, you're like, you know, obviously within the movie, this isn't just like a plot or script, whatever for them. This is like literally with the characters. They're not characters. It's their life. So like, they're literally just trying to justify so many things and work through so many things in real time. Meanwhile, murders are occurring and like the FBI is coming and you're just sitting there being like, no, babe, I love you. And it's like, what? Like, I feel like it's definitely, it's a campy movie. Like, it is a campy movie. And I feel like it definitely, like, that part specifically was very much like almost the absurdity of lesbian love and devotion. And this whole concept of like, oh yeah, I met this woman today and I let her move into my house because I think she's hot and also she's like, she seems like a nice person and she seems like she's interested in me. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's just, once again, it ties into the title where it's like, this is like a hopeless love. Like, you are hopelessly in love and also the love is hopeless, dude. Like, this like really intense breach of boundaries and like this level of like, I will cover up a murder for you because I covered up murders like for my whole family. Like, it's fine. Like, it's just not, it's stupid to apply, in my opinion. It's stupid to apply a lot of these like pop psychology terms now to fiction. Like, being like, oh, toxicity, like, oh, like, problematic, like, oh, like, all these things. I'm like, yeah, obviously it's a movie and like they're doing some like pretty messed up things, but at the same time, at the end of the movie, this love interest woman grows into a 50-foot tall woman. Like, it's not supposed to be realistic. Like, I feel like it really is like this weird like juxtaposition of very serious topics and themes and like absurdity. And I think that's why I like the movie so much. But I think that's the crux of what I would like to say. I did write down, like, the ending did not make me feel good. And I know it's supposed to be like, oh, we escaped and like we drove away with my cat in my like sexy pickup truck and like everything's fine now. And it's like, I feel like it's not fine because it is demonstrated at the end that like Lou literally kills somebody, which like, of course, the character's kind of a piece of shit. So it's almost like, I feel like nobody in this movie who dies, like, you almost can't feel bad for them. It's not like a situation where it's like, that was my favorite character, like, I loved her. It's like, no, like, not even. But it's like just kind of demonstrating the fact that, like, Lou will not only cover up a murder for Jackie, but will also kill for Jackie. And it's just like, oh my God, like, that's such a weird, specific. Every time I think of this movie, I think of different aspects of it, and I'm like, is it a metaphor? And it's like, no, like, it's everything in this movie could be a metaphor. Like, I need to, like, stop with the, like, conspiracy board in my house being like, oh, well, this and this and this, and this means this, and actually this means this. And it's like, it's not that deep, but also it is that deep, but also it's not that deep. Like, it's so much. So I did write down, this makes me want to rip up and reapproach how I make comics and how I write stories. So, like, this literally, I've been working, not for nothing, I've been working on the same comic for 2 years. It's been on, like, hiatus, on and off. I've been going through it. It's been a lot, but it makes me want to redo the entire comic. And the way that I illustrate it and the way that things are, like, shot in the perspective of whatever. Like, I really want to maybe revisit it and then redo the characters a certain way. Because I'm telling the story in a way that is very chronological, and there's a specific build, and, like, sometimes things get surreal, but also, like, maybe not enough. Like, I just need to push really hard, and I need to make all of the characters and all the figures, like, interesting. I think that's it. Like, visually, like, as well as narratively, but especially visually. Like, this makes me want to redo the way a lot of things are done, because it is, like, a story about, like, these two characters who also are like, yeah, we've had a lot of trauma in our lives, and we're trying to see if we can be together or if it's completely hopeless. Obviously not, there's no murder involved. Like, it's very boring. It's very, like, slice of life, surrealist, like, yeah, butch lesbian fiction, like, whatever. But it makes me want to make the script tighter and make the entire, like, plot of the book, because it's going to be like a graphic novel length situation. Like, I want to make it tighter too. Like, because every scene in Love Lies Bleeding has a meaning. Every line of dialogue serves a purpose, as much as sometimes it seems stupid. Like, Lou, like, with that stupid beer tab, like, in her mouth, and, like, doing certain things, and, like, I don't know, just, like, her mannerisms, like, they all make sense. And I feel like I really want to create artwork that is similar in the way of, like, everything is, like, utilitarian. You know, there's a use for everything. Do I love a filler episode? I love a filler episode. Do I love a entire movie full of filler that's surreal and doesn't make any sense, but, like, all comes together in the end? I love it. Like, I love that stuff. That's how I usually write. But I want to take a different approach to this comic that I'm working on. Really badly. But I guess we'll see. Lastly, I am planning on making a Love Lies Bleeding zine. I'm gonna kind of revise these points and then maybe make it into, like, a 3 or 4 part essay, and then I want to do illustrations, and then naturally I want to do a centerfold with Jackie in it. So I want to do that. I think it's gonna be cool. It's just gonna take me a long time, because everything takes me a long time these days. Even though normally I can, like, draw something up in, like, a week and it's done. I don't know. I want to hand letter the whole thing. I just want it to look really cool. And then I want to sell it on the internet. Or maybe I won't. Who knows? Maybe I'll just keep it and, like, look at it every day. Like, I guess we'll see. I think that's it for the review. 30 minutes instead of 40 minutes, but I don't know if that's much better. If you wanted to sit through this or not, who knows? I'm trying to think of anything else. It is confirmed as of right now. I'm going to wait till they arrive, so it's not like I'm giving somebody, like, a shitty creased poster. But, like, it is confirmed that I somehow accidentally ordered 2 Love Lies Bleeding posters. Like, the big official poster with Katie O'Brien on it with, like, a gun. Amazing. So I do want to... I decided I'm going to do a contest instead of just doing a giveaway. So this is so, like, ridiculous. Maybe I'll wait to reveal the contest, or maybe I'll just say it right now. It's, like, it's not that deep. So the contest is, I want you, viewer, to sit down, close your eyes, and draw me a bunny. That's it. I want you to sit down and, with your eyes closed, draw me a little bunny, and then email it to me. And then I will get all the bunnies together, even though it's probably going to be 2 people who sign up for this giveaway or like contest thing. And out of all the bunnies that I receive, I will rate the top bunny, and then whoever drew the best bunny with their eyes closed will get the poster. And unfortunately, I'm limiting it to American viewers because the thing is, I have done giveaways before with my own artwork where I said I was going to send the person a copy of like the calendar or like the poster that I drew or whatever. And then what ends up happening is the person lives in Australia, the person lives in Kuwait, the person lives in China, I don't know, me struggling to come up with a country. And like then it turns into a whole fiasco of me trying to get through customs to send the poster or whatever the prize is. And it's a giant deal, and it's really annoying because last time I tried to send a calendar to Australia, it was literally $30, and I didn't realize because last time I did it, it was $15, and now suddenly prices doubled. And it was like it was just a giant disaster. And then the person ended up being an asshole. So I was just like, you know what? Why do I do anything? At least if somebody turns out to be an asshole to me in America, it's in America, and I only spent like $10 sending a poster instead of spending $40. And when I found out the person is the devil incarnate and they watch my videos for some reason. So that is going to be the contest. Don't draw your bunny yet because I want to wait once again to get the posters because I just want to make sure they're like good quality. I will say one of them has like a little like rip in it. The other one has like pinholes in it because I think that's how they held it up at the movie theater that the person who sold it to me worked at. So there's that. So it's not like perfect condition, but still like I look online like a little goblin, and a lot of these posters that are like pristine condition are like $99 literally on eBay. If you look up Love Lies Bleeding, it's like so expensive. It's like ridiculous. So yeah, there's that. I think that's about all for this video, and mayhaps I will talk to you soon, or mayhaps I will talk to you when I move into my new apartment in 4 months and I can give my apartment tour, and maybe I'll actually get a setup and buy a mic so I can stop torturing you all with my shitty audio and video. But I guess we'll see. I think that's it. Me for the 5th time saying that's it, and then it's not it. I'm the grandpa from Jackie Chan being like, one more thing, like every day of my life. Okay, that's actually it. I will talk to you soon. Bye.